In today's OpenToonz tutorial, we will be discussing one particular tool that can level up your animation. So let's get back to the laptop and talk about it. I can't believe I'm doing this for a third time.
Oh! Alright, we have our jump animation open, and if you like a step-by-step guide to do animation cleanup and color, click the eye icon on the top right. Anyway, the tool that we'll be discussing today, and one of my favorite tools in this software, is the animate tool. So what exactly is the animate tool? Well, this tool is used mostly for cutout animation. However, we can also use this for frame-by-frame animation. First and foremost, let's cover the basic things that this tool can do. We're gonna mess with the jump animation later on, but for now, we'll be using some text to demonstrate the animate tool. So let's create a new level and let's name it text-animate. So to add some text, we're gonna use the text tool. I'm just gonna click anywhere on the canvas and just type whatever text. Alright, let's select the animate tool. Just like the selection tool back in the first video, this tool also has a drop-down menu on the upper left, and if we click it, we can see the various subtools. Let's choose position and let's see what it does when I click and drag the object. It moves it around the canvas. You might be thinking, well, what is the difference between this and moving the drawing that way? If you're using the selection tool, you're only moving a single frame. However, if you use the animate tool, it animates the entire column, which means that all the frames in that column will follow suit. So it's convenient when you want to change the position of the entire animation. Let's run down the rest of the subtools. Rotate is used for rotating the column based on its center. Scale changes the size of the column. Shear skews the column. Center changes the center point of the column, which is helpful if you want to rotate the column at a certain point. All means all of the above subtools can be used at the same time. I wouldn't recommend it since it can be quite confusing since you have to be specific on where you click. Now we've covered the basics of animate tool, let's do some animation doing this. Let's say I want to move the text from one side to another. Select frame 1 and select animate tool. Make sure the subtool is on position and we're just gonna move the text here. If you look at the X sheet, you will notice that a key icon appears on the right side of the frame. That icon is the keyframe or animate tool. This icon automatically appears whenever we use the animate tool. The next step is we're gonna select frame 24, so that's 1 second of animation. Let's move the text on the right side. Another keyframe icon appears with a line connecting to them, which means an animation is formed. Let's play to see what it looks like. There we go, it's moving, yay! Unlike frame-by-frame animation where you have to manually move the frames, OpenToonz does the movement for you. By the way, you can also use animate tool on a camera. If we go to the X sheet, there's a tiny little column on the leftmost side. This is the camera and you can use the animate tool to pan and zoom a scene. This is helpful if your animation already has a lot of elements and you don't want to mess with them anymore. Moving on, let's go back to our jump animation and enhance this further. Let's say I want this guy to jump from left to right, but I don't want to move the frames one at a time anymore because I might mess it up. Let's select frame 1 and let's use the animate tool to move it around. Before we move the subject, let's select the subtool center and let's move this point to the center of its head. Then select position and move the character slightly on the left. Next, let's select frame 72 and move him to the right. Let's play it to see where we at. Okay, that is a bit weird because there is a long pause on frame 1. So let's select the key icon, not the drawing. You'll note the frame is selected if the icon is colored blue. And let's drag it to frame 20. This is the part where the character left the ground, so the movement technically will start there. On the other hand, let's drag the second keyframe onto frame 40 since this is the part where the character landed, so there would be no movement beyond that. Let's check it out and see what it looks like now. Okay, the jump distance looks ridiculous and it looks like he's on the moon or something. I'm just gonna move the keyframe in frame 40 right in the middle. It looks better but it still looks like he's gliding than jumping. So let's go to frame 29, which is the jump apex, and we're gonna add another keyframe there. Right click and select set key and it will create a keyframe there. I'm gonna position it higher and give the jump an extra height. Let's check it again. It's close but not quite there yet. Let's select frame 23, add a keyframe there, select rotate from the subtool, and let's rotate the character at an angle to give an illusion that he's jumping forward. By the way, you can also use this text box to set the angle of the rotation. For some reason, frame 20 keyframe kinda followed suit. I don't know what happened there to be honest, but let's just set it to 0. No big deal. Next, let's select frame 35 and add another keyframe, and we're going to rotate the character to the opposite angle to sell the effect that he's trying to control his landing. Let's play it! There we go, that looks like he's jumping. Let me just do a little bit of tweaking. Sometimes a little adjustment can go a long way to sell the effect that we're after, so don't be afraid to experiment and play the animation a lot so you can analyze what you need to do. Alright, here's the animation so far. Yep, that looks fine to me.
Anyway, in the next video, I'll be showing you how to add backgrounds and sounds to your animation and finally exporting it to a video. So click this video right here to proceed.